What's going on? Thanks for checking in. Today, a little more laid back video for you. We're gonna do some arm care stuff for pitchers. So I got the man Barucki with us, and he's gonna show us some staple, unnegotiable exercises that if you're a pitcher, you better be doing. So make sure you stay tuned. Check this one out. Okay, about to go through the routine. What are some staples that you do every single day before you throw?
This one is a new one for me this off season because I just came off an injury, and when I was working with my PT, they really just wanted me to do some closed chain, like weight bearing stuff to build stability in the joint, my elbow joint, because that was what I was lacking, and I think that's partially a reason why I got hurt. My joint was very unstable. So these three things I do every single day before I throw a baseball, and this is kind of the first one. It's kind of just I do about 30 seconds just here, like a bear crawl hold, just feeling it out.
Are you breathing through this, or are you just kind of holding it?
Just breathing through it and just holding. It's good for core too, but most importantly, it's just building that stability. I wasn't a big believer in it until I really started doing it more and more, because it is pretty hard the more you do it and longer you do it, but it does really, really help. So yeah, I do that. And then the big thing too, I do it after, because I like doing it when I'm tired. After I get done throwing for a day, I do this too, till failure, just to really build it when it is hot and warm and everything. So this is my second one. Hold this. Like I said, it's good for core too, but mostly I just use it for the stability part.
And stability, what this is, right, it's just isometric hold. And we know, especially if you've been following me for a little while, that in isometrics, that's one of the best things you can possibly do to build stability and to prevent injuries.
This one's definitely the hardest. You're stacking the shoulder, get the core going, and it's really good on my elbow too. And then last one, I usually do it on a ball.
All that isometric weight bearing stuff is really good for guys that have previous surgeries too.
And this one's just like kind of like going into a push-up, but like holding it, just trying to fire up the tricep a little bit to get it that loose, just on like right here. Like I said, usually I'm pretty gassed after I get done because it's pretty hard. But if it does get easy, I usually try to do more weight or more time.
And you hit one set of that before and after you throw?
I usually always do one set before I throw, but then depending on how I'm feeling after I do throw, I might do two. 1 to 2 at least, just to build that stability.
And then after this, you get into the band work?
That's pre. I don't really do bands after. More if I if I like pitch in the game or do something, I do more dumbbell stuff, or like a PNF if there's like a trainer there. Okay. Those are two big ones I do during the season, but PNF you can't really do by yourself. You got to have somebody there hands-on with you.
Gotcha. Are we getting into your band work now?
Yep.
Jagger band routine. What do we got?
For me first, just do the tees. Try to hold them a little bit for just a quick, like a second count. Do about 10 of these. Then Y's. Just getting the scaps fired up. What do you got in Jaeger bands?
Like them, bro. Yeah.
I didn't really start doing Jaeger bands until last couple years because I don't know, it just kind of gets my shoulders warmed up.
I think it's a staple in everybody, like every pitcher nowadays, I think it's just a staple, you know? Or those crossover symmetries, but those are cool because they got that patented behind the wrist, like taped to your wrist.
I love to tape the wrist. I have different, I don't have the Jaegers, I have a different brand, but I have to have the wrist cuff, have to.
Yeah.
Have to. And kind of do the same thing. Tricep extension, that's a big one for me. I hold a lot of tension in my triceps, so just try to get those warmed up.
And if you can pump blood to that tricep, right, it's gonna protect the elbow a little bit too.
And I try to pronate a little bit for 5. because this is the movement I do all the time because I throw sinkers, change-ups, stuff like that, and then just kind of lifts here. Big key too is like just keeping your core tight and stacked. You don't want to be like doing that.
Flared ribs, yeah. Do your best to keep your ribs down, like you said.
And then the last one's just ER, standard ER, IR for the cuff.
Hey, this is off topic, but Sanchez was talking about it the other day. Do you think about like flexing your core when you like pitch?
Yeah.
Like you're holding it tight, dude. I'd never like thought people thought about that.
Oh yeah. Especially when you just get to the top, like when you get to your position. No, just when you get to your position. Like for me, a key for me is like when I'm doing that, it's just like I get to here, and just make sure it's just nice and tight, because then you can just keep it when you get to here, and then it just.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. I never heard that.
Do this a lot. So like by me reinforcing it, I know I'm already gonna do it, but if I can just kind of do that, instead, because I know I'm never gonna be here. That's just not who I am. But I don't want to be here. So if I can just do this a little bit, so I can get in between that, that's my little happy medium, you know? So like, I've always thrown that way. I've always thrown like kind of like this. So it's like if I can just stack it a little bit, it'll work.
Hey, so next one, Barucki likes to go into a static style one. It's just a banded lat stretch. Guy's got balled up lats, that's, you know, a big limitation, right? So he likes to lengthen that before he goes into his throwing. If you have tight balled up lats, like if you look at how I train the back, like when I do lat pull downs, pull ups, etc., I always focusing on protract, retract, pull first. Because we don't just want to strengthen the lats, right? We want to lengthen them and keep that length. Because if we ball up the lats, that's going to prevent in that overhead extension and overhead throwers. That's a big like issue with guys that are all weight room heavy, bodybuilding style training, right? They're going to lose that overhead extension through the lats.
I love this one. This is my favorite stretch.
You like the figure four one we do?
Yeah, I do. I do. But this one's just great.
Dude, I think that's why Chapman's like, have you ever seen Chapman's training, like how he trains? It's all like bodybuilding, behind the neck pressing, all that, bro. You can't be a pitcher training like that. He's training himself out of the game, in my opinion.
That's a hot take, man.
It is a hot take.
Guy still throws 105, so.
No, he doesn't, bro. He throws 96 now.
I saw him touch it 101 in Yankee
He
Stadium.
throw 92 this year.
A big one that I do now is I just dead hang for 10 breaths.
Okay.
That's a big one. I don't know why. It just makes my back feel good. I feel like it's good for grip strength, and just really, and I have tight lats too, so it really just kind of helps me just get that lat length a little bit before I throw. I do that before and after too.
Yeah.
I just feel my back just kind of like come back together. This was big with the Jays when I was with the Jays. They love doing arm bars. Yeah. Just kind of stacked over that shoulder and just breathing.
Do you do the supinate, pronate too, or you just hold it? Yeah.
Usually after like 5 breaths, I do about a set of 5.
So he said 5 breaths isometric hold for 5 deep breaths, and then after that he starts to supinate and pronate it.
Always be careful when dropping that weight.
On the turf. Break my turf.
I really do pre-game, pre-throw.
Yep. And then you hit your plyo balls on that?
Hit the plyo balls, yeah. Just for a couple throws. My plyo ball routines kind of changed over time. I'm really focusing on just getting just enough reps instead of a lot. I used to throw a lot more plyos, but I just kind of get my arm working so then I can go out there and just play catch.
So just light toss now, working on a couple of things before the pen tomorrow. And then after, we're gonna show you some post throwing arm care exercises that he likes to do. Have you watched Entourage, Rocky? You've never watched Entourage, Jordan? Yep. Is that one seamer or two? Cutter? Looks the same out of the hand. Yep. Yeah! That was nice. Good shit, man. All right, just finished up throwing. So this is the post-throw arm care, right, that Barucki does. However, I like to add one in that, you know, I think is a non-negotiable, right? And it's that D2 pattern across the body. I like using the crossover symmetry, or you can use a landmine. Biggest thing here is you're gonna start with it high. All I care about is that eccentric cross body, right? So we hit our isometrics, which we know is really good to prevent injuries and build stability. But another one that's often underlooked is that eccentric action. So I like to hit that right after, you know, a heavy or a hard throwing session. So go ahead, this is how I like to do this. Since I'm only worried about the eccentric, not the concentric, you're gonna start with it up, take a big step out, lower slow. Good, walk back in, start with it up, lower slow. Nice, just that D2 crossbody pattern. Good. Hit a set of 8 to 10 of that, call it a day.
Weight bearing, like I said, I do weight bearing, and then I usually get with a trainer when I'm in season.
Yeah.
I like doing PNF.
Okay.
The most, like with the trainer.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Manual resisted stuff, all that.
Yeah.
And then you always throw the Mark Pro on and stuff after?
Oh, yeah.
High intensity every day?
I own a Mark Pro myself, so.
You do it every day?
Yeah, I do it mostly every day.
Okay, right on, right on.
But it's Mark Pro.
Yeah.
If I was in high school and college, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't have the funds to afford one, but
yeah.
But yeah, like I think a Mark Pro is a staple for just a pump. Just keep pumping.
Yeah.
Especially for me, I got arthritic elbow, a couple surgeries in there, so just to get blood pumping through there all the time.
Yeah.
It's good
Start
because I
that
get
recovery
stiff
process.
real quick. I get stiff.
Nice.
So if it's sitting too long.
Okay, good. Like he said, right, he does that same weight bearing routine that he does pre-throw, he does that post-throw. But then I'm gonna add another thing that I think is a staple, and it's just your typical 90-degree kettlebell carry, which is an isometric. And Sanchez taught me this last year, right? Like I was always told, hey, keep that close to center of mass, elbow at 90. However, it's a pretty damn good idea, right, to go where the arm path comes through. So maybe go lighter kettlebell, but get it to where that arm comes through, right? And all this, again, is just your isometric hold here. Trying to keep the ribs down, core contracted, right, and then get it. Good? Nice. So go like a set of 15 yards or so there post-throw. Hey, that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're taking care of all those pre- and post-throwing protocols, right? We gave you a number of exercises to do in terms of arm care for both, right? And the biggest thing are make sure you're hitting those isometrics in those eccentric positions. That's the best thing you could possibly do for injury prevention. And always remember that I pump out 2 of these videos per week, so do me a favor and subscribe for me. I appreciate you. We'll catch you next week. Game rewards the grind. It knows how much you've invested.